Today we're talking about the debut record from the Raven Age, Darkness Will Rise. So before we get into today's review, I just want to mention that I recently reviewed Conspiracy by the Raven Age. Last week I did that, and I did a full review of the album, discussed all the tracks and everything. So if you're interested, please do check that out as well. I'll link that up in the description. I initially wanted to have this video up first. It's just like their debut album, but I didn't get a chance, so I decided to do it after instead, and then I kind of like link back to Conspiracy. But before we get into the review today as well, I just want to quickly mention tomorrow I'm filming a video with a friend of mine who runs a football channel, new football channel, started it up recently, and he does really good content, discusses various things about the beautiful game. So he's letting me feature on his channel tomorrow. We're doing a bit of a different video. I'm really looking forward to it. It'll be really cool. It's about transfers and stuff, so if you're interested in football, please do go and subscribe to him, and I'll be featuring on there tomorrow. Yeah, I'm looking forward to doing that. So I'll link him up in the description. His name's Joseph, so go and check that out if you're interested. But today, anyway, we're talking about Darkness Will Rise, the debut album from the Raven Age. It dropped in March 2017, and yeah, I mean, I remember when this album came out, I really got into it. Now, I mentioned in my last video when I did the Conspiracy review that I saw the Raven Age supporting Anthrax at the Forum in London. It was actually this tour I brought this shirt just after seeing the Raven Age, and it was February 2017, so about a month before the record dropped, and it was extremely cold. It was snowing outside. We got held up in the queue because the VIP thing got delayed or something, and yeah, it was extremely cold. And I remember finally getting in. The Raven Age came on, and I just remember sat there in my Anthrax hoodie like this, because it was just freezing. I remember actually really enjoying the Raven Age. I think I sat there and I was really digging their riffs, and I thought they sounded great. So when the album dropped, a month later, I was all like waiting for it to come out, and I gave it a listen. I was ill the day it came out. I remember I was at school. I was still in school at the time. I remember having a day off because I was off sick. I remember I couldn't get up and plug it into my speakers because I just felt so shit. I just laid in bed and played the album on my phone, and I really enjoyed it. Now, the more I listened to it, the more the album grew on me. And at that sort of time, when it dropped, I really loved this album. Listened to it a lot. So what we're going to do today is I'm going to get into the tracks of the record. I'm going to discuss all the tracks individually, then I'm going to get into the positives of the album, and then I'll get into the more negative aspects, and then I'll give an overall summary and review. So the album opens up with a self-titled track called Darkness Will Rise, which is essentially an intro to the album. And as an intro, I really like it. It starts off very atmospheric, quite quiet, and it really builds into this huge sounding melodic riff with some big vocals, and I think it's a really cool opening to the record, and it transitions really nicely into the opening track. I think I do still slightly prefer Uprising, the intro on the self-titled EP they did before this. But yeah, I mean, this is still a really cool intro, one that I really liked. I think it sounds really good as an intro to the album. They did an intro on the new record as well, which was more of a classical intro. It had a big classical influence on it, but yeah, I mean, that worked really well as well. But this works very well, even though it sounds pretty different as an intro. And yeah, I love it as an introduction to the record, and it transitions really well into the next song called Promised Land. Now, Promised Land has a wicked riff. It's heavy, but it's groovy as well. It's got a cool little lead part as well, and I think that Promised Land is just a wicked riff straight away. It has a wicked riff even. And it goes into sort of these mid-tempo verses, really big sounding catchy chorus too. And yeah, I mean, this song's wicked. I love the riff. This is just a cool song. I think when the riff slowed down at the end as well, it just sounds really good. But yeah, Promised Land is a really strong opener, and one that I really like, and it keeps you it's cool because it has quite a few twists and turns in it, and I like it. I think it works really well. It's the first song on the record. Now, this goes into Age of the Raven, which to me is a call to arms for the Raven Age. Obviously, this was their debut record, and this feels like a definite call to arms for the Raven Age. Again, it's got a very cool mid-tempo riff, very, very cool verses as well. I really like the verses, and then the chorus again, very big, very catchy. There's a lot of hooks, as shown throughout this record and the new one. And the last line of this song is the beginning of a Raven Age is upon us. And I just feel like this song is definitely a call to arms to the band, and I think it's a really strong track and another one that I enjoyed. Next is the Death March. Now this song was featured on the self-titled EP they did. Obviously this was a re-recorded version, which I think sounds better than the one on the EP. But I mean this is a really cool song. Obviously the Death March is a reference to death marches, obviously used throughout the history. Probably most known for their use in World War II. Now, the Death March is, like a lot of the Raven Age stuff, quite historically based, I would say. Oh yeah, I'm drinking strawberry milkshake today. That's pretty metal, isn't it? Yeah, the Death March is a wicked track. It's fast paced. Now, the thing I like about the Death March is, even though the drum track's pretty different because it utilises a double bass, it has the sort of galloping feel that a Maiden song does, with songs like The Trooper. It's just, I know it's a pretty different drum beat than something Nico will play, but it still has that sort of same feel, that galloping, fast-paced feel. And I think that works really well with the song. It's got a cool riff, again a very big catchy chorus as well. I like the sort of historical lyrics from the Raven Age, which is shown on the next song too. And I think the vocals sound really good on this song as well, with their original vocalist Michael. I think the vocals on this song are really good, and I like this song as well. It's a bit shorter than the opening two of Promised Land and Age of the Raven, but it's just yeah, it's a wicked track. And I mean, the first two are quite mid-tempo, especially Age of the Raven, and this song just picks up the pace and yeah, works really nicely where it is, I think. Next is Salem's Fate. Now I remember them playing this when I saw them, and it was the new single that was coming out at the time, just before the record dropped. And I think this is a really good song. Obviously Salem's Fate, written about witches and the witch hunt of Salem. And again, historical lyrics. George Harris seems to do the same as his dad does with Maiden, do a lot of historical songs. Now Salem's Fate, I think is a really strong track. It starts off very slow, but it really builds up into a wicked riff. Again, it's got a big chorus, and I think this is what this album focuses on, as does the new one. Really big hooks, really big choruses, and I think Salem's Fate's really good. I like the lyrics as well. There's a very cool sort of storytelling element to it. The song's about 7 minutes long as well, so I mean, it's able to take you through some twists and turns and really tell the story of what happened. And I think this is a really wicked track, and one that I definitely enjoyed. There's some great guitar work on this song too, as there is throughout the album. Next is a song called The Merciful One. Now, after the 7 minutes of Salem's Fate, Merciful One just kicks in straight away. A lot of energy in this song. It's got a very melodic but heavy riff. This is a cool song. Now, it's got the verses on this are pretty catchy, but the chorus really, again, is where the hook is. It's got a huge chorus, big vocals. I like the bridge in this, where it quietens down a bit and really bursts back into life. And this is a cool song. I just think, again, it sits really nicely after a song that takes you through a lot of twists and turns. This one's a bit more straightforward, and I think it works really nicely on the album where it is too. Next is the song I Among the Blind, which was the second track on the self-titled EP before this album, and sort of essentially the opening track after the intro. Now again, I like the fact they've utilised this song on the album, but not just put it at the start again. They've used it like sort of halfway through the album, essentially. This song again has a lot of energy to start off with, but it takes you through some twists and turns. It's got some blast beats at the start. This was the first time we'd heard blast beats used in Raven Age music. They used it in a new song as well, Stigmata. But yeah, this is a wicked track. Now, the blast beats and stuff straight away, and the really groovy, heavy riff, it helps to bring a lot of energy straight into the track. But then I think the song takes through some cool twists and turns. I mean, the chorus again, very catchy sounding, very big sounding. But it keeps it interesting. It mixes it up a bit with this bridge and everything. And I like this track. I like the lyrics as well. I like the whole concept of I'm among the blind and being aware when everyone else is turning a blind eye to it. And I think this is a cool song. And I like the fact that they didn't just put it as the opening track again. They utilised it later on, showed it in a different sort of context. Because when you heard it on the EP, it was sort of like meant to be the burst of energy at the start, whereas on here you had that in Promised Land, and here they've used it like midway through the album. So I like the fact that you hear it in a different context and not as an opening song. But yeah, I mean, I like this re-recording as well. Again, I think this sounds a lot better than the EP version. Next is a song called Winds of Change. Now I actually really like Winds of Change. I think this is a wicked track. Now I think this song sort of covers the theme of leaving home and adapting to change, hence the title. It's not the Scorpions song with the whistling and stuff, but no, I mean, this is a cool song. I love the riff. I love the fact that this song is quite dynamic. It utilises quiet parts and heavy parts and loud sounding parts. It has quite a soft intro. Then it goes into this really groovy riff. I love the lyrics to this song as well, and I think this song is one of my favourites on the record, to be fair. At the end as well, I mean, the song sort of seemingly stops, then kicks back into the riff, that sort of really heavy, groovy riff, sort of melodic riff, and then it just kicks back in really quick. There's an amazing fill from Jai as well on drums, and then the song sort of abruptly finishes, and I think this song works really well. It's about 6 minutes long. It's able to keep you engaged throughout 6 minutes, takes you through some twists and turns, and this was a wicked track, one that I really liked. I love the concept of it. I like the way it's presented. The lyrics for me are really strong here as well. Like, remember all the basic traditions that you've been brought up on, and it's essentially saying appreciate what you've got because you miss it when it's gone. That's why I read it anyway. Don't appreciate how you've been living until it's been taken away and things like that. Just about taking life for granted. And, I think that concept is shown really strong in this song. So this is a wicked track, one that I enjoy. The next one is called Trapped Within the Shadows. Now this was a cool song. Trapped Within the Shadows was very thrashy at the start. It kicks in, it's got a definite thrash influence on it, but then it sort of slows down and goes into more of a groovy sort of melodic riff. After the burst of energy at the start, it's very fast paced. Then it slows down and goes into more of a traditional sounding Raven Age riff. It's quite melodic, it's quite groovy. Again, quite a big chorus. I feel like the song sounds a little bit more disjointed than some of the other ones on the record. I feel like a lot of the songs in this album flow really well, and this one just feels a bit more pieced together. I think especially because it starts off so quick and energetic, and then just sort of then just does the opposite and goes back into more of the traditional sound that we've heard. But I mean, it's not a bad song by any means. I feel like I'm talking quite negatively. It's quite a cool song. I love the chorus. I think the verses are strong as well. Love the guitar work on this song. Some great riffs. But yeah, it's a decent track, and I mean, it's quite. I mean, after Winds of Change, which was a song that was again quite mid-tempo, this song really kicks in quick and brings a lot of energy, and it's a cool song. Next is the song My Revenge. I'm pretty sure this was released as a single after the album was released, if I remember correctly. Now this song's cool. I mean, it's shorter than Trapped Within the Shadows. It's shorter than that song, but it works nicely. Again, it's quite mid-tempo. Got more of a sort of chuggy riff to it almost. It's quite melodic. Again, it's got quite a big sounding chorus. And this song's not a standout to me, but I enjoy it. I think the lyrics are cool for what they are. Complements the song nicely. The lyrics are sort of easy to comprehend and works really nicely with that straightforward sort of groove metal, sort of melodic metal sound that this song has. And I dig it. This is a cool song. But the next song on the album, The Dying Embers of Life, is definitely one of my favourites on this record. Now, The Dying Embers of Life is essentially the ballad of the album, like The Face That Launched 1,000 Ships is on the new one. Now, Dying Embers of Life is an absolutely fantastic track. Now, it starts off sounding like it's very, very quiet, very soft. It's an acoustic guitar and some very soft sort of low vocals. But it kicks into a very, very big sounding chorus. Very melodic, but the vocals are huge. And I think this song's very dynamic. It's quite quiet, then it goes very loud, and then it goes very quiet again. And It really mixes it up, keeps it interesting. I like the way after the really big sounding loud chorus we have this, it goes back into a second verse which is also very quiet and really brings it down again, and, but this time with a drum beat in the background, and I feel like this song just flows really nicely. Next is Angel in Disgrace. Now this was, I think it's fair to say this is the most popular Raven Age song so far. It was on the EP before the album as well, the self-titled one. It was the closing track on there, it's the second to last track on this album, and I really like this song. I remember them playing it live, when I remember them playing it when I saw them. That song's really cool. I mean, it's got a really sort of, it's quite fast paced at the start, it's got a very groovy riff, it's very fast paced, it comes in with a lot of energy, but then it slows down for the verses. There's this like simple but heavy drum beat in the background from Jai, and then it really kicks in again, fast paced, big sounding. But the chorus is where the song really shows its strength, in my opinion. The chorus on this song is massive sounding. It's very melodic, but it's very catchy. There's a lot of hooks. The chorus is extremely memorable, and I think this is a really good song. And yeah, I mean, it's a very catchy song that definitely gets stuck in your head. But it's also got some fantastic guitar work. It's got a solo that really complements the track too, and yeah, this is a really cool track. But the final song on the album is called Behind the Mask. Now, like the closing track on the new album, this is like the 8-minute epic. Now, I compared the closing song on the new album called Grave of the Fireflies. I compared it to this one because they both albums go for the longest song at the end to really bring sort of an epic closure to the record. Now, Behind the Mask is definitely one of the most progressive things Raven Age have done, along with the closer on the new album. And it's wicked. It's an absolutely brilliant track. Now it's about 8 minutes long, if I remember correctly, and it just keeps you engaged throughout its time limit because it mixes it up quite a lot. I mean, it's got a very cool verse, very epic sounding, very big sounding. And the chorus again, huge sounding chorus, very big sounding for the end. Sorry, for the chorus on the final track on this album. And I mean, this song, when it goes through all these twists and turns, it then quietens down again. Brings the pace down a lot, and really goes into this huge sounding end section. And I just love this track as an ending to the album, and I think as a closer it's extremely strong and definitely one of my favourites on the record as well. I just think this song is superb. It flows really well. It doesn't get boring. It's not overblown. It works really well. And as a closer, it's definitely the best song to pick as an album closer, because I just feel like it's extremely strong. As Grave of the Fireflies is on the new record as well. So yeah, that is the tracks on Darkness Will Rise, and I'm now going to get into the positive and negative aspects. So positives of the album. First of all, choruses. Choruses on this album are great. There's some huge sounding choruses. This album, again, like the new one does, relies on a lot of hooks on the choruses. I think that's one of the things Raven Age are really good at, making really memorable, catchy choruses. Guitar-wise, there's some incredible riffs on here. And again, I put this album in melodic metal, but because a lot of the riffs have a lot of melody, a lot of groove to them. But yet they're still heavy, and I mean, this album really finds that perfect blend between like just like melody and just pure energy and sort of brute force, and I think this album really blends that line really well. Songs like Dying Embers of Life highlight the more calm and quieter side of the Raven Age. Then we have songs like Trapped Within the Shadows and My Revenge, which are a lot more confrontational, more intense, and I think this album works really well. I think it flows really well as well. I think with all the songs on here, they're all placed really in the right order. I think they just flow really nicely as a collective album. Production wise, I think the production is good, although I will say the guitars are mixed very loudly. And I said this about the new album as well, the guitars are mixed very loudly on this album. However, for a lot of bands I could find that a bit annoying. However, I think Raven Age are a very riff-based band. you know, especially on tracks like Promised Land, I think that's really highlighted. And yeah, I think the album, it does work with that production because they're such a riff-based band. But yeah, I mean, because I think the production on this album does sound really good. I maybe would have liked to have the bass turned up a little bit more, but yeah, I think that the production is good and it does complement the songs well with them being very, very riff-based. Negatives of the record, I feel like a lot of the album's a bit samey. They're sort of, a lot of the songs follow the same sort of structure, and obviously songs like Behind a Mask I'm not including, but you know, a lot of the tracks on the album sort of follow the same formula, and feel the same. You know, just very similar sounding tracks, and that's not a bad thing. I just feel like the album does start to sound the same after a while. Vocals on this album are really good. However, I feel like Michael, well, obviously I don't know what he's doing now. I felt like he had a little bit more to offer. I mean, he has a great voice, but I'd like to hear him maybe try something a bit different on whatever he does in the future, if he still does music. I'll be interested in hearing that. But I mean, new vocalist Matt, I think it's Matt, his name is. Yeah, Matt James, that's his name. He is a really, really good vocalist as well. So, and I mean, his voice is quite, slightly different to Michael, but it works really well on the older material too. So, but yeah, anyway, I'm getting off topic. I think this album's good. I think the new one's better. I think the new album Conspiracy is a step up. I gave that a 4 out of 5, so I'm going to give this one a 3.5 out of 5. If you like melodic metal, this album's definitely worth checking out. If you like big hooks, it's definitely worth checking out. If you like really groovy riffs to sink your teeth into, again, this album's worth checking out. But yeah, 3.5 out of 5, I'm going to say for this new one. Sorry, for this first record, Darkness Will Rise. I've reviewed the new one, Conspiracy. I gave that a 4 out of 5. I think it's slightly stronger than this album. I think it's a step up as a whole. So please do check out my review of that if you enjoyed. As I said, I'm trying to grow this channel. I've said it in the past. Really trying to grow this channel, so I'd appreciate if you could subscribe. It would mean a lot. I really appreciate the support I've been given. And yeah, I mean, I've got loads of stuff I want to be doing coming soon. I mean, I'm reviewing the Simple Creatures EP at the end of the month. Mark Hoppus from Blink and they do from All Time Live. I have a feeling that's not going to be good. I love Blink as well, that's the sad thing. But yeah, I'm not a huge fan of what I've heard so far. I'll be reviewing that. Obviously the new Slipknot record drops in August. I'm really excited for that. I'm reviewing that the day it comes out. I've already decided that. So yeah, I'm really excited for the stuff coming out. Got the new Wild Arts record. So yeah, there's loads of stuff. Also, if there's anything you guys want me to review, just comment it below and I'll get to it. And whether it's old or new, it doesn't bother me. So thank you very much. And I will be uploading again very soon, hopefully. I've got a bunch of stuff I want to be doing. So thank you for your support, thank you for watching, and I'll see you in another video soon.